ASMR. Fucking allergies, Chris. Holy shit, man, I'm dying over here. Okay. I'm just kidding, guys. We're not going to do the whole thing in ASMR, but I know you'd love that. No, today we're going to talk about the 5 things that I wish Harvard Law School taught me about mental health. These are things that I think everyone out there should know, right? Be it students, working professionals, parents, kids, does not matter. 2 quick things before we begin. You're going to want to hear number 4. And the second thing, smash that like button, smash that sub button. Let's get started, baby. Coming up at number 1, taking a break. Yeah, that's a spot. That's a spot. Sorry, I took my advice a little bit too literally there. But no, take a break. Listen, taking a break is part of the grind. Taking a break is part of the hustle. I think in our culture where we romanticize this idea of working as hard as we can all the time to achieve our goals, we use taking a break as a sort of, oh, that's the thing that's gonna hold you back, right? That's the thing that's gonna distract you from the work that needs to be done. Taking a break is essential to letting your brain absorb all the information and the pushing that you are doing to it on a daily basis. If I had known that resting and taking a break were part of the grind, were part of the hustle from a younger age, my mental health would have been in much better shape. So that needs to be reframed, and that is not something that the top schools are ever gonna tell you. Number 2, advocating for others, especially in the field of law, takes a deep toll on you. I want you to imagine something for a second. You're sitting at work on a Monday morning, you just watched some football on a Sunday, you relax, but now you're back at your desk, it's 9 a.m., and you need to go into the courtroom at 9:30 a.m. And based on how you present evidence and argue this case in front of a panel of jurors, or the judge as it were, someone's life will change depending on your performance. That's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure because it's a lot of responsibility riding on your shoulders as the attorney. Look, this is a job, right? At the end of the day, it's a career. Most folks want to be fulfilled in their career, and lawyers are no different. But in addition to executing on all of their tasks, taking care of their families, doing their bills, everything else, their job as an attorney, your job necessitates advocating on behalf of your client. And sometimes a lot is at stake. When I was working at a domestic violence agency, the ability of the lawyer that I worked with to argue for the cases of these women would determine whether or not these women would have custody of their children. I mean, this is life-altering events for these folks, and it depends entirely on the lawyer's performance. No matter what context you are practicing law, even if it's just corporate and transactional, it's very important that if you're in law school, you understand that there's going to be a lot of pressure weighing on your shoulders as an attorney because you are representing your clients. Number 3, you are never alone, no matter how miserable or how isolated or how sad you may feel. One of the scariest parts about mental health is that it's all in here. And by in here, I mean you are stuck in your own head. No one else is hearing the thoughts that are coming at you. No one else is feeling what you are feeling. And because of that, it is an incredibly isolating experience. But knowing deep down and teaching folks that you're never truly alone, despite how lonely you may feel, that's incredibly important. This is especially the case in places like law school and these high-pressure academic environments where every student wants to put their best foot forward and seem like they have everything together when maybe they don't. I had a friend in law school who was very competitive, wanted to be the best, worked very, very hard, stayed up until 2 a.m. in the library, night after night after night. Didn't perform as well as he wanted the first semester. Okay, so second semester comes around and pressure builds up. Summer internships are coming along and he hadn't figured it out yet. I'll spare you all of the details here, but the short version is that we lost him to mental health. And I think this narrative of you need to be perfect, you need to have it together all the time, and most importantly, if you're struggling, if you're suffering, you're completely alone because everyone else, if you look around, they're all smiling, they all have it together. It's a false narrative. And we need to teach folks and remind folks that they're never alone, no matter how lonely it can feel on the mental health journey. Number 4, anxiety is both a thought pattern and a feeling. A recent survey showed that nearly 43% of law students report having symptoms of anxiety. And that's probably an understatement because, as with all mental health conditions, we don't accurately survey and sample how many people are suffering out there. Look, I won't lie, something that I've had to deal with for my whole mental health journey since I was diagnosed with severe anxiety is trying to figure out what the hell is anxiety. Many people characterize anxiety as a set of thought patterns. Many people characterize it as a feeling. Some people characterize it as something that lives in the body, right? There's a lot of theories, iterations out there, descriptions. I'm not going to pretend to know all of them. Here's what I will tell you from my own personal experience that I think is very important to think about. Anxiety is both thought patterns that are wired in your head and a feeling itself. Of course, we need to keep in mind thoughts create feelings, feelings create behavior, all right? And behavior shapes our reality. So of course, the thought patterns are related to the way that you feel. And anxiety may well begin with thought patterns that are anxious or anxiety induced and then result in you feeling anxious, but they're distinct. I say that because there are moments where I will feel anxious, but there's not really a thought pattern that's triggering that. It's something else in the world that's causing it. It's an external stimuli, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So keep in mind that anxiety is not simple, and it may well be something that is a combination of thoughts that have been recircuited in your head for decades. In my case, 15 years of broken thought patterns just going over and over and over. But it can also be a feeling that you can identify and say, oh, I'm feeling anxious. Okay, let me learn now how to manage that and go forward accordingly. Last, but certainly not least, is number 5. And this is what I really, really wish that every law school would teach every law student out there. Lawyers in our profession are not good role models when it comes to managing mental health. I'm gonna be as blunt as possible, pardon my French. We do not have our shit together in the legal profession. Attorneys are the #1 profession in addiction. We have nearly 30% of us who have clinical depression, and as I just said earlier, nearly 50% of law students report having anxiety. The stories of partners at top-tier law firms, and these are the people making millions and millions and millions of dollars doing the most sophisticated, high-level legal work, we are losing them to mental health conditions every single year because our profession doesn't talk about these things. Our profession does not know how to take these things seriously. Our profession puts so much pressure on itself to be perfect and to represent and advocate for their clients that we forget that we're also human beings that have to manage all of the various stressors that come with being a lawyer. And so if you're out there in law school, if you're thinking about it, just know you can manage mental and be a lawyer. I know so many happy lawyers who are living their best lives and completely have their mental under control, but do not look to the profession broadly to teach that to you. You're gonna have to do it on your own because the profession is very much still figuring it out. And one quick PSA, I think the same logic applies for medicine, dentistry, academia, and frankly, most industries out there. Mental health is just not where it needs to be yet. As always, that is it from me, gang. But please, if you have 1 second, smash that sub button. Yeah, smash that sub button. I will see you guys next time. If you would excuse me, it's time that I go take a break. Mic drop. Much love, bye.